We've got the HP NV17 here, a Skylake version with the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 950M inside. So this is a big box, it's got some big specs as well with the 16 gig of storage and half a terabyte of Samsung SSD inside. We've got 4 USB 3 ports on there, and of course this is a 17-inch display. It's a matte display, full HD. I'll put some of the rest of the specs up on the screen for you. What we're going to do in this video is we're just going to go around the casing, the keyboard, give you some performance test results on the screen, brightness and color accuracy, color space coverage as well. And then we'll talk about performance, and we'll give you some, of course, rundown on a few games as well. At the end of the video, I'll give you the pros and cons, and we'll give you our score out of 100 for the HP NV17. This is model number, I want to get this right, N107NG. So this is the HP NV17 N107NG. Let's start with the casing. There's a plastic, kind of looks like a metal finish, but it is plastic. And we've got aluminium on the outside, so nice feel to it. There's not too much flex. It feels fairly sturdy and fairly solid. I should point out that this is actually a €1,500 device in Europe. Can't remember the US price for this one at the moment, but it's the €1,500 version in Europe. We've got a fingerprint reader here, and we've got also Bang & Olufsen speakers inside. Let's have a little look at the keyboard now. Now this is a bit strange. It's a low profile Ultrabook style keyboard with reasonable mechanics, but it just doesn't seem to fit with the thickness of the device we got here. You'd think that with the GTX 940M inside, that they would, sorry, 950M inside, they would be putting a higher quality keyboard in for gamers and for video editors as well, but that's not the case. It's got a nice backlight, but the contrast on the keys is also a little bit strange. You've got the backlight on here, and it seems to be shining around the keys rather than through the keys. Maybe in lower lighting that would be better. But anyway, the keyboard is a strange affair, and you really should test it yourself before you buy on this one. On the touchpad, well, the smoothness and the accuracy of the pad itself seems okay. These left and right mouse clicks here seem to require a little bit too much pressure, and there's no really well-defined click point on them. So the touchpad is also a little bit of a mixed affair. We're going to take a look at that display now. It's a matte IPS full HD display, 1920 by 1080 there. So reasonable viewing angles, no inversion, and seems to be pretty good. Let me just turn that around so you can have a look at that there. I'm going to give you some details on brightness and on color accuracy now. So coming in a bit closer with the camera now, I want to give you some details on the brightness. You'll see the figures on the screen now. 341 nits center brightness with 335 on battery, so it's just slightly lower on battery life than on mains power. The brightness distribution was 91%, so there's a good spread of brightness. No areas of extreme darker or lighter patches. Take a look at that black figure though. 1.05 is really quite bad and almost unacceptable for a device that's costing €1,500. It gives us a contrast ratio of just 325. Take a look at that list. There's some comparisons there. For example, the V-Nitro Black is over 1,000 in contrast, and those are the sort of figures that we'd look to see for a high quality device. In terms of color accuracy, the colors 4.6, that's just below 5, which is good. The deltas on the grayscale at 6 are just over 5, which is a little bit on the inaccurate side. Again, a device of this price should be a little bit more accurate. Look at that V-Nitro again, 4.01 for colors and 3.58 for black. That's really moving into a good area of color accuracy. There's a picture of outdoor usage, obviously not in the sunlight. There's the picture of the scattered cloud cover on the HP NV17 screen. If you're interested in response times, black to white and greys to grey levels, Take a look at the full review. We've got some response time measurements on the screen. I'll mention those in the summary at the end of the video. Pulse width modulation is used to adjust brightness. We measured that at 198 Hertz. Again, more detail on the full review about pulse width modulation, plus a little side note about what that means. Let's get into the performance now. We have the quad-core Core i7 6700 HQ, so a high-end CPU inside, and of course we've got that NVIDIA GTX 950M graphics unit inside. So it'll be interesting to look at the CPU and graphics performance, and then we'll show you some gaming performance results towards the end of this section. Now then, Cinebench R11.5. Now let's take the R15, the more modern version of that test. And you can see 667 points for the HP NV17, and let's compare it with the Acer Aspire V Nitro Black VN7. Also has the 6700. Now that's at 679 points. So that's really not much difference at all. On the MSI P70 there, you see that's got the Core i5 42010. That's a couple of generations older, and that's at 330 points. So we're running at double the performance compared to that MSI. PC Mark 8 will give us a good overview score. It tests CPU, GPU, memory and storage as well in various different performance scenarios. We've got a performance score here of 3634 for the home score, which compares, again I'm going to call out that Nitro Black Edition because it's running the same CPU, 3751, so not much difference between those devices there. 3700 is going to be great for office use, and we'll talk about gaming again in a minute. Before we talk about gaming, let's talk about the storage. There's a 0.5 terabyte Samsung SSD inside, and it's good. It has some good read speeds. In fact, it's SATA 3 connected, and you really won't see much more out of SATA 3 than what you're seeing here. 517 sequential read speeds is really up against the limits of SATA 3. And when we go down to what I regard as the most important one for smooth operation in Windows, and that's the 4K write speed, 85.23, and that's also a very good score. So overall, that SSD, really great performance, and you've got a nice 0.5 terabyte storage to use as well. So let's move on to that GTX 950M. It's using the latest Maxwell architecture, NVIDIA's GPU architecture, and we've got 4 gigs of DDR3 RAM included in it as well. Now let's have a look at 3D Mark 11. 4,444 points, and let's compare that against the Acer Aspire V Nitro Black with the GTX 960M. So this is the 950M versus the 960M, and that 960M is really getting higher, much higher performance, 22% more, 5,400s on that 3D Mark score. Now gaming, of course you need to know about gaming. So let's have a look at 3 game tests we've done here. Anno 2205, medium settings 42.6, and Assassin's Creed Syndicate will also run with medium settings at over 30 frames per second. So some gaming usability there, and what you need to consider now is noise, battery life and throttling. We're going to go through those in the next section. The HP NV17 can get warm. Take a look at this this graph here, and you'll see temperatures up to 82 degrees. That is way too high. It's on the back at one of the exit ports. Let me show you where that will actually appear. Just here. That's where we've reached 82 degrees. Now that is under a full CPU and GPU load test, long-term load test, which really brings up the maximum in terms of heat generated through the system. So that's high. You'll notice that on the front, 71 degrees on the front as well. Now that might have effect on long-term throttling. Let's take a look at that now. So turbo utilization, does that clock back under heat? Yes, it does. When we checked out the Cinebench R15 score and we ran that, we saw processor dropping from 3.1 gigahertz regularly down to 2.6 gigahertz. So there is some throttling occurring under load with the CPU. And with the noise as well, it's not a brilliant report from us either. The highest noise level, 42.6, is quite loud and noticeable. It's a smooth fan noise. It's not a whirring, annoying sound, but 42.6 is certainly noticeable. So gamers, you'll be wearing your headphones, and video editors that are rendering out long videos might want to step out of the room and get a coffee when they're rendering. I should mention the speakers. HP advertises a bass speaker in here. Well, it's not really a bass. What it's doing is filling in some of the mid-ranges. So you do get, for a laptop, a quite rounded sound, and there's a graphic equalizer that you can use to tune that. So overall, the sound not too bad, but I'm not sure how that really does impact people like gamers and people that are using this for home entertainment, high-end video playback, for example. Probably going to be output to a speaker system or to headphones. But it's there, the speakers are reasonable and better than your average laptop. So we have a removable 62 watt hour battery in this, which is quite big for this class of device. So let's put that back in, turn this on, the way around, and we'll take a look at the battery life figures. So in our battery life tests, we did an idle and a load and a Wi-Fi reading test. We also did a DVD playback test as well. Looking at that Wi-Fi test, V1.3 score, you can see on the screen there, 452 minutes is 7 hours and 32 minutes, which is actually a very good score, and of course attributable to that rather large battery that's in the back as well. Of course, the downside is 2.8 kilos is not light. And one other thing I just want to mention is this. The power brick really is a power brick. It's a big, heavy thing, and rated at, I think, 90 watts was the rating. So, of course, that'll be able to supply all the power needed, but do note that you're carrying a power brick as well as the unit itself for over 3 kilograms in weight. Back to the battery life then. Wi-Fi surfing was 7 hours 32 minutes, and under load, now of course under load with the GPU working, that discrete GPU working, as well as the CPU, 1 hour 13 minutes. That's no surprise. That's trying to work that out. That's actually 50 plus watts of power being used, so there's no surprise that that power brick is rated for 90 watts. So let's take a look at the pros and cons now of the HP NV17. We've got a nice chassis, it's fairly robust, and there's a nice aluminium casing on the outside. The ports are positioned to the back of the unit, so there's nothing on the front, so actually for gamers you can get those cables out and away fairly easy. Battery is removable and accessible, and there's a good display, of course. Apart from that, black level, we'll mention that again in a minute. Good performance from the quad-core CPU, and the 16 gigs of RAM is really enough for most things. The SSD, good size and good performance as well. The sound system is good, and it seems to be well tuned in terms of idle battery life, and so for the low usage situations you'll get some good battery life out of this. On the cons, there's not really a lot of information about this series on HP's website, so if you're trying to track one down it might be difficult to find the information. Maintenance access is also a little bit tricky, and there it is again, that black value. The black value on the screen is too high, resulting in a contrast level that is just too low for most people. The reaction times of the screen may be too low for gamers. Check out the full review for details on the reaction times. We also had the issue with the turbo downclocking, that Cinebench R15 test that I mentioned, and the heat, that 82 degrees is just too hot under this load test. Now that was an extreme load test, but we don't see that level of temperature in many other devices. So for a multimedia laptop, we rated the HP NV17 in this configuration, late 2015, 83%. That is a good score, and it's weighted towards multimedia usage. Check out the website for the details on how that breaks down, and you'll see if any of those matches your requirements. For example, gaming performance or audio. You might be looking for audio. That good fast SSD is also a key feature here. So thanks for watching. That was the HP NV17. It's a big 17-inch workhorse, and should suit multimedia workers, some gaming users, and Office users that are really pushing the boundaries in terms of things like spreadsheets and running PowerPoint and drawing applications and leaving stuff open. So you've got enough memory there to really run the full gambit of Office programs, and that's probably one of the best scenarios for a laptop like this. Obviously not ultra mobile at over 3 kilograms with that power brick, but yeah, transferring in a car, for example, to an office and then back home shouldn't be any problems at all. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, if you got something out of the video, please give us a thumbs up. Just show your appreciation with a like, and if you want to keep track of these videos, if you want to know what's coming up next, subscribe and we'll send you notifications as videos get uploaded. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next Notebook Check Tech Review.